For my urban research project, I decided to go back to the school I did my student teaching at, Lawrence Elementary. Lawrence is located in Mesquite, Texas, and it is a predominantly African American school. Many of the students live in and out of hotels, and the houses around the school are rough. The living conditions for these students are extreme, and many of them face hardships at home that they should not face at such young ages. I observed two fifth-grade classrooms. One was an English language arts and social studies classroom, and the other was a math and science classroom. The classroom management techniques were excellent in the math and science classroom, but I cannot say the same for the English language arts and social studies classroom. The math and science teacher had great control over her classroom. She set it up with her students' interest in mind, and she was extremely organized. I noticed the students raised their hands to talk to her or answer a question, and they truly had respect for her. The English language arts teacher had papers scattered all over her desk and the students' desk. The students were constantly talking and running around the classroom as she was trying to teach, and many students were playing games on their phone instead of listening to the lesson. Although the English language arts class was very wild, I was able to see a social interaction between the students. They were all talking in different groups and mingling with one another. I also noticed two girls that were sitting in their desk reading their library books amongst the craziness, and I could tell they really had a joy for learning. While visiting Lawrence, I talked to two different people about their school experiences. The first person I talked to was a third grade teacher who was completely miserable with her job. She said she used to teach at different school districts and everything about it was much better than Lawrence. As I sat in her classroom for about 15 minutes, I could see what she was talking about. Her students were throwing things and running around, and she was extremely stressed. She also said her suggestions for change at Lawrence would be for the school to create a campus-wide discipline program, and if the students did not follow it, then there would be serious consequences. Her hopes for the future were not related to Lawrence but for herself as a teacher. She said, "I hope to finish out the rest of the school year at Lawrence and then go back home to teach." The next person I interviewed was a fifth grade girl who had been at Lawrence since she was in kindergarten, and her dad was the music teacher. She was one of the students who was reading a library book in all of the craziness, and I was able to see how eager she was to learn. She said Lawrence had changed since she was in kindergarten, and her parents were considering putting her in a different school for her sixth grade year. The student said, "Most of my friends I made in kindergarten have moved, and I really hate it here. I just want to learn, and all the students are so loud and have no respect for our teachers." I thought this was incredibly sad. Here is a fifth grade student who enjoys learning, and her learning is basically at a pause. Before returning back to Lawrence, I was excited about seeing the staff and students. I enjoyed my student teaching at Lawrence, and although my students had some behavior issues, I grew close to them over the time I was there and could not wait to visit them again. However, once I walked back into Lawrence, my attitude completely changed. I was upset by the disrespect the students and staff were showing the school. I'm not sure if the new principal is just easygoing and more concerned about what is going on in the classroom and not the hallways, but I feel like in order for students to learn, the environment has to be respected. The major teaching issues in this environment, in my opinion, are the teachers' attitudes and the students' disrespect. Many of the teachers at Lawrence had very negative attitudes because they hated their job and they did not like the constant disrespect of their students. For example, the third grade teacher I interviewed was miserable and could not get her students under control. She had a bad attitude about work and really hated her job. The students were extremely disrespectful to the teachers. They did not care what kind of trouble they got into and did not listen to any rules. The students made the jobs of the teachers very difficult. From what I saw, nothing was being done to meet these challenges. The principal seemed very laid back about everything going on in the school, and this disappointed me. The teachers were so angry, and the students were showing no respect to anyone. The principal needs to have a campus-wide meeting and set the rules straight for both the teachers and the students. If not, the purpose of the school, which is learning, will never take place.